blues fans, glad you're here. Welcome to another episode of This Week in the Blues. It's our weekly take on blues history. I'm your host, Jimbo Big Train Madsen, with the blues band Big Train and the Loco Motives. We're your favorite blues nerds. So let's take a look and see what happened this week in blues history. Blues piano maestro Pinetop Perkins was born July 7th, 1913. Perkins began as a guitar player, but a mid-40s encounter with an outraged chorus girl toting a knife left him with severed tendons in his left arm. That dashed his guitar aspirations, and he concentrated solely on piano from that point on. Perkins had traveled to Helena, Arkansas, playing on the King Biscuit Time radio show. He eventually settled in Chicago and replaced Otis Spann in Muddy Waters Band, where he would spend more than a decade. In 2010, he collaborated with Willie Big Eye Smith for the album Joined at the Hip, which won a Grammy for the Best Traditional Blues Album, giving the 97-year-old Perkins the status of the oldest Grammy winner ever. Pretty cool. Blues, jazz, and R&B guitar player Lloyd Tiny Grimes was born on July 7th, 1916 in Newport News, Virginia. He was a member of the Art Tatum Trio from 1943 to 1944 and was a backing musician on recording sessions and later led his own bands, including a recording session with Charlie Parker. He is notable for playing an electric tenor guitar, which only has 4 strings. Blues piano player Johnnie Johnson was born on July 8th back in 1924. Now, Johnson had a band called the Sir John Trio, and on New Year's Eve in 1953, a little-known guitarist named Chuck Berry joined them. Soon afterward, Berry took over as the group's songwriter, frontman, and guitar player. For 28 years, Johnson's rhythmic piano playing was a key element in all of Berry's hit singles, a good number of which Johnson arranged. Johnson is widely regarded to be the inspiration for one of Berry's biggest hits, Johnnie Be Good. He would go on to play and record with, among others, Eric Clapton, Bo Diddley, George Thorogood, and even Aerosmith. Louisiana swamp blues guitar player Larry Garner was born July 8, 1952, in New Orleans and grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. His first inspiration was the guitar-playing preacher, Reverend Utah Smith. Garner got to know local musicians such as Lonesome Sundown, Silas Hogan, Guitar Kelly, and Tabby Thomas. He was taught to play guitar primarily by his uncle and others in the neighborhood where he grew up. Garner completed military service in Korea and returned to Baton Rouge, working part-time in music and full-time at a Dow chemical plant. Things changed for him in 1988 when Garner won the International Blues Challenge. Blues guitar player Blind Boy Fuller was born July 10th in 1907. Unlike other blues musicians like Big Bill Broonzy and Memphis Minnie, who recorded extensively over a 3 or 4 year decade span, Blind Boy Fuller recorded his substantial body of work over a short 6-year period. Nevertheless, he was one of the most recorded artists of his time, and by far the most popular and influential Piedmont blues player. From 1935 to 1941, he recorded over 120 sides. He also served as a conduit to recording sessions, steering fellow blues musicians to the studio. One of my favorite guitar players was born on July 10th in 1953, Charlie Baddy, best known as the leader of award-winning blues band Little Charlie and the Nightcats. Over the course of his career, he shared stages with Muddy Waters, Greg Allman, Robert Cray, Albert Collins, Los Lobos, and many, many others. Baddy proudly never played the same song the same way twice. His playing bridged hard Chicago blues with swing jazz, and his inspirations were as diverse as Buddy Guy, Django Reinhardt, and Tiny Grimes. Chicago blues piano player Barrelhouse Chuck was born on July 10th in 1958. He claimed to be the only Chicago blues piano player to have studied under Sunnyland Slim, Pinetop Perkins, Blind John Davis, Detroit Jr., and Little Brother Montgomery. In 2013 and 2014, Barrelhouse Chuck was nominated for a Blues Music Award in the category Pinetop Perkins Piano Player. In 2016, he lost a long battle with cancer at the age of 58. During his career, he played or recorded with Jimmie Rodgers, Eddie Taylor, Hubert Sumlin, Otis Rush, Buddy Guy, and Otis Big Smokey Smothers. West Coast blues guitarist Robert Smokey Wilson was born on July 11, 1936, in Glen Allen, Mississippi. He spent most of his career performing West Coast blues and juke joint blues in Los Angeles, California. He recorded a number of albums for record labels such as P-Vine Records, Bullseye Blues, and Tex Muse Records. His career got off to a late start, with international recognition eluding him until the 1990s, when he was in his 60s. Magic Sam started recording Westside Soul on July 12th in 1967. It would prove to be groundbreaking in pairing soul and blues together. Westside Soul was a fresh, spirited distillation of the blues as it was being played in Chicago's Southside clubs. It is often cited as one of the key modern electric blues albums. Now, the album includes an updated Sweet Home Chicago, which has become a popular blues anthem. July 12, 1959, marks Day 2 of the first Newport Folk Festival. The lineup included blues greats Bo Diddley, Memphis Slim, Oscar Brand, and the Reverend Gary Davis. The Newport Folk Festival was a place where many blues artists from the 20s and 30s relaunched their careers. Blues in the Mississippi Night was recorded on July 13th in 1947, and this is an important story, so please hear me out. Now, when folklorist Alan Lomax recorded Big Bill Brunsey, Memphis Slim, and Sonny Boy Williamson, the results were so controversial that he waited a decade to release the album, and even then disguised the identity of the artist and location of the session. The three bluesmen, dubbed Natchez, Leroy, and Sib in the original album notes, did more than play the blues on the album. They defined it in candid conversation, relaying such wrenching tales of hardships and racial injustice that, according to Lomax, they feared that the release of the recording might bring reprisals against them. Lomax had worries too, and during the McCarthy era, when his activities came under question, he moved to England. Well, blues fans, we just covered some of the highlights here. Now, if you want to know more about these artists or other things that happened this week in the blues, be sure to follow our social media pages or visit our website at bigtrainblues.com. Now, we'll have a brand new episode next week, and it's going to be a good one, so we'll see you then.